guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about the number one bartering item you should have when the collapse happens. What is the number one thing that I would want on my homestead or for my house or something? The one thing, if I could have one prep, one barter item, one thing that for sure, I mean, I have water, you have food, you have some other things you put away, you have some good shelter, you have maybe a weapon or something to protect yourself for security. But what's like the number one bartering item I would want to have if it all went haywire? And I'm going to speak throughout from history, okay? Historically speaking, the one thing that has always been able to feed someone's family, the one thing that has always been used to be able to barter and trade successfully is a still, a pot still, some sort of still. Guys, you can find all the way back, I think, in 1,000 years BC, ancient Persia. It's been documented how to make, I mean, even before that in the Bible, it's listed to make strong drink, for, distilled drink. It's listed in the Torah, in the first 5 books of the Bible. It's mentioned there, twice at least. And so this is something that's existed since the beginning, okay, to be able to distill alcohol and use these things. And when a collapse happens, history has shown us over and over again, if you have one of these, you will be able to feed your family. There's a very famous story, I've told it before on my channel, about a guy in Sarajevo, Bosnia, Sarajevo, in the 1990s when they were going through the whole war, the breakup of Yugoslavia. And there was a guy in Sarajevo who just always seemed to have on hand a little bit of fuel. A little bit of fuel. If you don't know, all vehicles over there, almost all vehicles back then at least, probably still today, I'm not sure, I haven't been to Sarajevo or Eastern Europe lately. But back then, everything ran on diesel, okay? And the diesel engines were very simple. You could put basically grain alcohol and run an engine on it. Okay, today engines are way more sophisticated. Don't try that at home. Not unless you've had definitely a kit installed or something. But back then, it was no big deal. And this guy always seemed to have a little bit of fuel to trade and fuel to use and fuel to barter with so that he could feed his family. And after the war, he wouldn't ever tell anybody where he's getting it from. He's like, I barter and trade. I'm a dealer and a shaker type thing. And so he had this stuff, and after the war, people came, hey, come on, tell me, where did you get all the fuel? How did you always have fuel? Because nobody had petrol. No, they call it petrol over there. Nobody had any. Nobody had diesel. Where'd you get it? And it's like, well, I'll show you your secret. I had a still, and I was tapping these pine trees. I have a certain type of pine tree behind my house, and I was tapping that and basically making turpentine, and I was distilling it, and it produces a fuel that you can run a diesel engine on. The simple diesel engines that most people had back then. And he was always trading it and being able to trade for food, trade for whatever he needed for his family. He was always able to survive. Amazing. And it's been that way all throughout history. This is why, if you look throughout history also on distilling and alcohol production, this is one of the number one things governments always regulate. And most people don't know, even since the beginning of our country in America, alcohol, the distilling of alcohol was regulated. Even since the time of George Washington. Go up and look at the Whiskey Rebellion. Look it all up. It was regulated. It's one of the things that are, I mean, they're deregulating, heroin. They're handing out, what were they handing out the other day? They were handing out crack pipes. The government was handing out crack pipes. Free! And because they want to make sure LGBTQ and other people, they want to make sure they have their crack pipes. We're deregulating everything today, but we refuse to deregulate alcohol, distilled alcohol. Why? Because historically speaking, this has always been used as money. And the government does not like competition. No. Our government makes money. You can't make money. You cannot make money. But the government knows that this is as good as money. It's always been that way historically. They will never, ever stop the deregulation, or they will never deregulate distilled alcohol. They just won't do it. This is why a still is the number one prep I recommend to people to have. Now, there's some sticky wickets here. You gotta be careful, okay? Because this is so highly regulated, you have to make sure you are in compliance with your state laws and federal laws. Federal laws being the most important, okay? You'll find that some state laws will contradict some federal laws. Like in Missouri, I believe Missouri allows you to distill alcohol. Federal laws do not. Missouri law, I believe, allows you to make distillates for your own personal consumption, a certain amount. The federal government does not. So you need to know your laws. And in Arkansas Ozarks, you're not allowed to have anything. You're not allowed to do it for your personal consumption at all. You have to go by federal guidelines if you're going to do this. And that's what we have done. We made a deal a while back with Claw Hammer Supply. I'll put the website up. Claw Hammer Supply, they sell copper kits that you can make yourself. We have one of those, and we also have a stainless steel kit that they gave us. And we have never used this for alcohol production. We're not using this for alcohol production. I did a couple videos on water distilling, because water distilling would be very beneficial if you have lead acid batteries, and so that's very beneficial in that regard. Or you can use it to make essential oils and other things besides alcohol. These are very handy for a lot of reasons. But I have a federal fuel permit. I went ahead and did that just to make sure. I serialized my still, and I keep paperwork on hand for my still, because if someone ever comes knocking, I want to make sure I have my paperwork, because you can get in big trouble for this stuff. And so I urge you, please follow all the laws that are given by federal and state authorities if you get one of these. And listen, they have gone into people who sell these things. I think in 2014, they went into a lot of retailers who sold stills. The federal government did, knocked on doors and said, I want a customer list of everyone who's bought one of your stills. And then they started showing up at people's houses. And the penalties, again, the penalties for owning one of these things and operating it illegally are steep. They tell people, I mean, you can lose your home. They will take your land. They will give you hefty fines, and you will go to prison. So make sure you're doing your best to follow all of the laws that you need to follow when it comes to this sort of thing. I don't even like talking about this on my channel. I don't use this for alcohol production at all, because I don't want to even be close to that sort of thing. I have used this for distilling water, because we do have solar here and we do have lead acid batteries here, and we're trying to switch almost over completely AGM. You know, it's something that we did a deal with them. But having a prep like this and having all of your legal I's dotted and T's crossed is important. But this is the most important prep of all the preps, of all the bartering preps. This is the most important one I would recommend, bar none, without question, because history shows you that with it you can always feed your family. Someone will always be wanting to trade, because with this type of product, you can then use it to make medicine, historical medicines, tinctures, things like that, things that have been proven throughout history to work and help ailments. There's lots of different plants you can learn, and to make tinctures, you need some sort of alcohol. And this will produce a very easy alcohol that you can use to make tinctures. Essential oils, you can use to make essential oils. Again, you can use it for distilling water, which you need for a variety of reasons, some medicinal as well. And so this is why this is so important. The number one prep, again, is the still. Now, once you have these, you can go find the products online to have a still, or you can even make your own. You don't even need to buy one. People have been making these for centuries, okay? If you get some copper, you can hammer these things into play. It doesn't really, basically all you're doing is you're putting sugar water that's fermented, and it has alcohol in it, and you're going to heat it up and catch the steam and then condense it back into a liquid. Boom, done. It's not that hard. It's like 9th century BC technology. This is Fred Flintstone technology. Okay, literally. And it's easy. You take fermented water, fermented whatever you have, heat it up, catch the steam, condense it back into liquid, done. It's that simple. Anyone can do this. Now, to get a more higher grade alcohol that's used in like something like engines, like diesel engines or something like that, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need a way to produce a higher octane. They have different kits that you can buy at places like Claw Hammer Supply and others, where you can produce a higher ABV value, alcohol by volume, that you can use that to actually run engines. You want to get like a 190 proof is what you're shooting for, like a 180, 190 proof. And then they even have other things you can get to take out the water even further. The reason you have like 10% left in that proof is because there's water still in that. It's almost impossible to get all the water. And even then, after you get all the water, let's say you had a 200 proof product, it'll actually take on moisture from the atmosphere and then go back to around 10%. So it's almost impossible to get anything better than 190 proof. But that's the sort of thing you can do to get that higher octane so that you can use that in different scenarios or reasons. Also, you're going to need a kit. A lot of the older vehicles, pre-1950s, diesels, things like that, or pre-1970s tractors and pre-1970s vehicles that run on diesel, you can get simple drop-in kits that you install, and you can then run that sort of alcohol through that engine. It allows you to do that without damaging the engine. And sometimes you can, if it's old enough vehicle, you can probably just run it as it is. You have to do your own research on that and find out what is what and make sure you're not going to break anything. But the time to do that is now. So if you have an old 1970s tractor, or if you have an old 1950s pickup truck or vehicle or something that you can run, go ahead and find out about that engine. And there are forums and places online where you can research this information and then use that to better learn about that vehicle, and then learn if you can use this sort of product in that vehicle safely. It's all about safety, guys. A lot of the stills today are designed using heat plates and electrical heating elements that allow this to heat up more safely. Speaking of safety, and we have, when I did my test, I did my test over actual fire, and it went perfect. I had on the back of my still, I have a place where you can install a heating element, and it has a silicone gasket. All I did was protect that gasket with a brick underneath it, so it wouldn't get the flames, wouldn't get that and mess it up. But do your own research on that and try to, the ones today are meant to be used with electric. You can still use fire with them. You just have to take some precautions. So keep that in mind. It's a very big safety issue. You do not want fire to mess these things up, especially since you're going to be using it to feed your family and barter and trade with. But check out the options that are online. Again, make sure you're checking out your laws. Try to be in compliance with everything that the government's, because the reality is we don't want anyone to get in trouble. And I don't want to get in trouble. That's why I don't do alcohol or fuel. Even though I have my federal fuel permit, I do not do this because I do not want to be even in question of breaking the law. And I keep my paperwork up to date and ready to go if someone knocks on my door, so I can show them that I'm in compliance and I'm trying to be legal. And so if I was ever taken to court, and I can show evidence that I have tried my best to be obedient to our masters, the federal government, who, just like governments long past, have tried to regulate something that's so simple. It's crazy. Our governments are always out of control. That's why, you can't believe this has always been in regulation, but it has been. Always been regulated by almost every government throughout history. Very few governments have never regulated alcohol production, or especially distilled alcohol production. So anyway, that is it. That's our first one. We're going to go through some other ones. We're going to talk about some amazing other bartering materials, top bartering materials that I would want to have on hand if I were you during a collapse. But again, number one, a still. A way to distill alcohol. Number one. All right, leave a comment below. Let me know some of the things you might like to see on this list, and we'll go through them. Maybe. I have a list, but if you think of something that's historically been proven to be a great barter item, put it in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts. And let me know what you think about the whole regulation and government regulations and stills. It's always interesting to read those comments below too. All right, check out our merchandise over at teespring.com. You can get our t-shirts. Our farm fresh butt nuggets are available. T-shirts are available down below, as well as Stupid Should Hurt, our best-selling t-shirt of all time. Stupid should hurt, because if we had more hurt in this world, we'd have a lot less stupid. And hit that like button before you go. Got to hit the like button. It lets YouTube know that people actually watch and enjoy our channel. See you next time in the Homestead. Bye. Hey guys, I'm happy to introduce an American Homestead sponsor, Zervita Zeal. Now, first off, I only accept sponsors from products that I use and believe in. My family uses Zeal mainly because we want to ensure a healthy immune system. You see, it's made up of only whole food concentrates and includes no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. The included sweetener is all natural from fruit and the stevia leaf. It's gluten-free, it's vegan, and it's kosher. In 2018, my youngest son was involved in a bike accident that resulted in the surgical removal of his spleen, and that's an important part of his immune system. And because we live on a farm, you can guess that having a healthy immune system for our family is very important. Some of the included ingredients are beetroot, chicory root, turmeric, moringa, blueberries, cranberry, goji berry, milk thistle, ginseng, alfalfa, broccoli, and so much more. It's these natural ingredients that can easily be made into a powerful and tasty drink that my family can make and feel good about.
So sign up and give it a try today. Every purchase you make goes to help the homestead so that we can continue to make great homesteading videos for you. Link is in the description below. Go ahead, give it a try. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.